Agree that too many teenagers are vaping, that it's harmful, and that this will help cut down on that?
Yes, let's be clear. No youth should vape, just as no youth should use marijuana, cigarettes, or alcohol. But there's only one product that the U.S. government is proposing to ban 98% plus of the products on the market and potentially send several million ex-smoking Americans back to cigarettes. That's the part that we are extremely concerned about and disappointed in President Trump for.
Right. You believe that vaping helps with smoking cessation. And, okay, if that's the case, why are they marketed in kiddie flavors? I mean, let me just put up for people some of the flavors that it's hard to believe that these are for smoking cessation. Look at the illustrations. I mean, unicorn milk, cotton candy, Fruit Loops, strawberry milk, sour gummies. Those are clearly marketed to kids.
They're actually not. There is absolutely some inappropriate marketing in this industry. And when you can actually have regulations, not prohibition, you can control flavor names. You can control packaging. But the fact is, that gets ignored all too often in this debate, fruit flavors are the most popular flavor among adults, and most importantly, the most used flavor among adults who have quit smoking with vaping. So this idea that we can just get rid of flavors tomorrow, and as long as smokers can access just one flavor, that's not going to make a difference on public health, it absolutely will.
But I think
not to mention the fact that we just...
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Just correct me if I'm wrong. I think you're talking about mint and menthol. Are a lot of adults smoking strawberry milk?
Actually, the most popular flavor with adults, according to FDA, CDC data, is not actually mint and menthol. It could be mint and menthol in 2019, but as of 1 year ago, 2 years ago, the most popular flavor, both among adults and switchers, the people benefiting the health the most by getting away from cigarettes, are fruit flavors. And so again, you can talk about inappropriate marketing, you can talk about restricting flavor names, marketing, but just getting rid of these products, it's going to do nothing to combat the black market contaminated THC products that are causing lung illnesses, and will actually just open up a brand new, potentially multi-billion-dollar black
use may be going down, but it seems like it would have been going down even more, Mr. Conley, without these e-cigarettes on the market, because they then go on to use real cigarettes.
Actually, no. If you have looked at the data, you would have found Kenneth Warner, David Abrams, other respected public health advocates have published articles in journals showing that not only did smoking decrease as experimentation with vaping took off, but we saw record-breaking declines in teen smoking. Teen smoking would not be as low today if youth were not experimenting with vaping products. It'd be better if no youth experimented with anything. But to pretend that smoking rates would be lower.
Hang on, Mr. Conley. You're saying teenage smoking rates would be even lower? They are lower because of vaping, because of e-cigarette use? You're saying
vaping products have rapidly denormalized, whether or not we approve of it, vaping products have rapidly denormalized cigarette smoking. And I'll remind you, Dr. Gupta, you were wrong about marijuana. You admitted it. 20 plus years you were wrong about marijuana, and I hope that there aren't body bags on the streets because of policies like these in 20 years when you realize that vaping products are saving lives.
Well, just going back to the kid use, though, the youth use. If people use e-cigarettes who would have never done anything, they wouldn't have done cigarettes, they would have done nothing, and then 30% of them go on to use combustible cigarettes. That's according to the National Institute on Drug Abuse. That's their data. Does that not concern you?
It is a concern, but again, the data doesn't actually show huge numbers of teens going on to become regular smokers.
The numbers are what they are.
You are citing
we just showed
is
the
based
numbers.
off of a lot of that data is based off of experimentation. Teens who try vaping and 1 year later they try a cigarette. That's not showing that teens are becoming addicted to smoking. We are at near end game levels of smoking, almost 5%. We never dreamed 10 years ago that we would be at 5% youth smoking. And not to mention the fact that we didn't believe we'd have 2.5 million plus ex-smokers who have quit smoking with vaping.
The issue, I think, and again, Mr. Conley, you can weigh in on this, but the issue is that I think there's been so much evidence of youth being targeted. You know, social media campaigns. We reported on this. He's making the argument about
flavorings. And I think he would disagree with that. I think he would disagree. I think he would agree with you that they shouldn't be targeted, and that's where the focus should be.
What have you done to prevent that from happening, though? I mean, you know, we've been reporting on these campaigns, going into kids' schools, doing things on social media, trying to really target kids where they're spending time, where they're living. That's been happening by people within your association. What is the American Vaping Association doing to address those sorts of things?
First, we've never sent anyone into schools to talk to children. That was the actions of one company, Juul. And Juul, which has about 35–40% of the market, they've decided to accede to President Trump's flavor ban. Let's target them. They are the main concern. Dr. Gottlieb, the former commissioner of the FDA, talked about this last night. Juul should be the target of FDA investigations. Closed pod systems that are especially popular with youth over the past couple of years. But Dr. Gottlieb brought up there are vape shops all across this country, adult-only establishments that are going to be shut down by this rule. And so the FDA could be narrowly tailoring their enforcement. Instead, you're going to shut down about 10,000 businesses who rely on selling flavored products to legal adults throughout this country.
And Mr. Conley, do you think that the fact that vaping allows kids to conceal it better than smoking? You know, Sanjay and I were talking about in a previous segment that some kids are vaping at school. We all know that every parent who has a middle school or a high school kid knows that there is a vaping epidemic right now in schools. Even in classes, kids are concealing it and sometimes getting busted for it because obviously it doesn't emit the smoke. So do you think that the device itself is a problem or helping lead to kids using it?
Some of the many things that lead adults to know that vaping is a smarter alternative to smoking and want to make the switch, such as the lack of ash, the lack of a lingering smell, yes, they can make it easier for youth to use the products. But that doesn't mean that prohibition and just opening up a black market, when in the age of the internet, good luck preventing social media and eBay sales continuing, not to mention black market manufacturing. Prohibition isn't going to stop youth from obtaining these products and using them in schools. Prohibition has not stopped a large percentage of youth from continuing to use marijuana, both in legal and illegal states.
Okay, Sanjay, I'll give you the last one.
Can you say for sure this is safe? I mean, this is ultimately what it comes down to.
No one says. No one, that's not what it ultimately comes down
Sure
to,
it
because
is.
this is about harm reduction. The
Well,
Royal
no.
College of Physicians, Public
You
Health
got
England,
five-
Cancer Research UK have all said that vaping is at least 95% safer than smoking. Safer. This is about harm reduction and giving smokers a better option than continuing to smoke.
You got 500
And the
people who
FDA
are
agrees
sick.
these
You got
products are
6
far less
deaths.
hazardous.
That's
From
the concern.
contaminated THC
We just don't
cartridges.
know that,
know
Mr.
that.
Conley.
From
You're
contaminated
making that
THC
leap.
cartridges.
We don't know that. I mean, at least not the CDC and the
We
government
very
officials
much do.
not. No, they don't. They say, I mean, I just read to you.
The FDA issued a specific warning. The FDA issued a specific warning only about contaminated THC products.
The CDC,
why did the
American
FDA
Medical
decide? Why did the
Association.
FDA decide that only contaminated THC products warranted a big warning? Why, if the FDA has any concern,
let me just give you one last example.
Mr.
Mr. Conley, hold on one second. There's a 17-year-old in Texas right now who is on life
who admitted
support.
to vaping THC, I believe.
No, whose mother said that she was using vaping, according to the local media, she was using vaping to stop smoking, exactly what you're suggesting that she do, and she has double pneumonia and she's on life support right now. So my point is this. You are reaching a conclusion that officials have not yet reached. And
Lipoid pneumonia comes from inhaling oils. There are no oils in nicotine.
You can also get pneumonia
products,
from being a
and the evidence
smoker.
Will come out.
Just to be clear, the
you get
CDC.
regular pneumonia. You can't get lipoid pneumonia. Let's be clear.
Let's also be clear. The
evidence
CDC,
will
the
come out
American
and
Medical
will vindicate this
Association,
industry.
have said we should not be vaping. This is CDC, the American Medical
The American
Association.
Medical Association has opposed vaping for 10 years. They are adamantly opposed to any form of tobacco harm reduction for smokers. That should not come as a surprise to anyone familiar with this debate.
Okay. Mr. Conley?
Smokers should know they can save their lives, improve their health by switching to store-bought nicotine vaping products. Don't be scared off by activists who are trying to keep you smoking.
Mr. Conley, you have made your case loud and clear here.
Thank you.
We thank you for coming on New Day. Thanks so much. And Sanjay, thanks so much for explaining the other side.
Thank you.